All right, now we're going to do the 2/6 clutch. So you got your return spring, and like I said, this is the only place where these Belleville plate style springs. This one faces down, you know, the conical side, the concave side goes into the drum. And then you have your apply piston. And then this is the snap ring for the apply piston and the return spring. And then you have the clutch snap ring on the inside of it. And as you can see, this is noticeably wider. So lube your pocket. As I mentioned earlier, this clutch can be particularly vulnerable to high line pressure. What will occasionally happen is when that pressure regulator valve gets stuck in the bore, you know, in the pump, or the leak valve gets stuck, these lugs will blow out due to excessive apply pressure on the clutch pack. So, you know, when that happens, obviously you need a new center support, a new pump assembly, and probably some other new parts. And that's why when you overhaul one of these units, you want to make absolutely sure you completely overhaul that pump. I mean, you completely go through it. I mean, you can buy a brand new one from GM, but it's actually better to overhaul your own. You know, machine the pocket, make sure that clearance is exactly what it needs to be between the working surfaces of the rotor and the slide and the face of the pump body. Make sure that you install updated valving, and same with the valve body. I mean, the valve body plays a role in it too. You want to make sure you install, you know, required updates, or at least advantageous updates for these transmissions. Okay, that'll just slide in there. Again, a new one will be a little bit more stubborn, but not terribly so. All right. So what I do is I'll install everything just like you see. I'll stick the snap ring one in, and the special tool kind of sits in here, engages all of the the surface here on that spring to compress it. Now, like I mentioned, that tool is very expensive. I've seen them go for upwards of $400 plus on eBay, and it's very rare that they actually come up for sale. So what I do is I take my output shaft and I will stick it in here. Okay, as you notice, the diameter is almost perfect. There's enough room to get a thin, long slotted screwdriver between the drum, so the drum and the snap ring, so that you engage that snap ring and stick it in the groove once you have this thing on the press and you apply downward pressure using your ram. So that's what we're going to do. Now, you're not going to be able to seat this all the way around. You're going to get it part way, and then you're going to stick this back on the bench and use a hammer and a screwdriver to smack in the rest of the length of the snap ring. And that's it. All right, let's go to the press. All right, so do the best you can to center the output shaft assembly, in the, on the return spring in the drum. It's going to move on you a little bit, but if it's centered, it won't move too much. And then once you have it fully compressed, as much as you can get it, you're going to use a long, thin, flat blade screwdriver like this to work the snap ring into the groove, at least get it started so that you can finish it off on the bench. So the ends of the snap ring are right here, or right about here. So that's what I like to attack first. Yeah, like I said, compress it as much as you can, and then take the screwdriver and twist it clockwise to push that snap ring into the groove. So typically what will happen is you'll get it started on the, where the ends are at, and then you'll be able to work it, into the groove part way around, and then it'll be like this, back section here that you'll have to finish off on the bench. So you can hear it kind of settling in. But like I said, it's going to get to a point where you're no longer going to be able to do it here on the press. And then you'll have to seat it on the bench. And I wouldn't hammer on it here. Just simply, locate and twist as much as you can until, you've got as much of it in the groove as you can get it while you're still here. All right, I'm gonna pull it out and check it, see what kind of progress we've made. Okay, so it looks like we have it started, and this is probably sufficient. So let's go back to the bench and finish it off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and smack it in with the screwdriver, and you see it's got a, full seat right here, then it's starting to pop out. So I'm going to use a flat blade screwdriver for this, not a Phillips head. Just work it all the way around progressively until it's fully seated. Just use care not to smack the lugs by accident. You don't want to do any damage to the drum. And this is why we wanted to complete the low reverse side first, because there's a little bit of weight to this drum. If you tried to do this with the other side empty, or none of the contents in there, it would be a lot harder. Hey, that's it. It's all the way in. Just double check it. Make sure that there's, no part of that snap ring still exposed. And then for my part, I like to have each of the ends underneath a lug. All right, I think that's good. Okay, with the drum oriented now right side up, you're gonna introduce air into the far left port. All right, sounds good. Holds just fine.